We are at the day 4 of our basics in MATLAB programming, right? So what we are going to see today, before entering to that, I'll just start off with what we have just seen in this last 3 hours. Okay, so we started off with we started off with what is the basics in an MATLAB, right? We started off with GUI. So how the interface in a MATLAB looks like, and what are the different functionalities of the workspace environment and the separate windows what we have seen, right? And then we just lightly moved on working in an editor command window, right? So in last 1 hour we just spent how to just upload some data, and how to correlate some data, how to just compare two data, and then we just saw how to plot some graphs out of certain values. So if I have some two values, I can just plot a graph. If I have one value, I can just plot a graph according to its value, right? So in today's class, we are going to start off with a bit, a simple bit with the graph, and then we'll move on to the functions. Okay. Okay. So yesterday, what we have seen is like I have a variable called x. Okay. So I have variable called x. So I'll just assign some values to x. So I'll just say from to 0 to 10 or 0 to 100 in the step size of 2, right? So I just assign another value y is equal to something now in terms of sine value, okay? Sine x. So whatever value I have yx, the corresponding value I have y as sine x, okay? So I just try to plot a graph x comma y, okay? I just plot a graph. Okay, now if I just run it, let's see what happens. So if I run it, I just want to save me. Yeah, okay, save D4, just save. Okay, I just saved it. Oh, hold on. I just close this off and just paste it here and then run. Let's see and let it be. Okay, so if I run this, so I just get a graph. So what will be my x if I want to see what is my value of x? So what is the value of x, which if I say display x, it just displays me, right? So I have values of displays. I have x value, correspondingly I'll be having y value, right? I'll be having y values too, right? So correspondingly, if x is 0, then y is equal to sine of 0, which is 0. Then x is equal to 2, then y is equal to sine of 2. So it will varies according to that, right? So now we just saw, we are just have a clarity, right? If we have two separate values or a collection of values, we'll plot a graph according to that. If you want a plot graph, you can plot it the same way we just saw, right? If you want any other graphs, you can have that too, right? The same way, if I just now, if I have n number of values, suppose I just delete off this, okay? I'll delete this off. I have a value, suppose considered to be y2, another variable. Have the value is equal to sine of x by 2. If I say something like plot another graph, see what happens. What happens here? Let me just run it and then let me show you what happened here. So whatever I do, so what it does, it just gets the value of x, it just gets the value of y, and then value of y2. Then what it does, it just creates a plot x comma y until unless I say figure, until unless I mention, I'm getting only one graph. See, until unless I mention figure, I'm not getting two graphs. If I didn't mention anything, if I didn't mention anything, what is my answer? If I didn't mention anything figure, I didn't mention figure. So what would my output will be? So output will be the first thing. Okay, it won't carry on to the next thing. Okay, I just read the command. Okay, I just plotted this. It won't read this. So how come I want to do this? I want to plot the same graph inside this. I want to play the same graphs inside the same workspace. Okay, so here I just introduce a function called hold on. Okay, so what I'm doing, see, I'm just saying you just hold on with this, just hold on with this and then plot this too. Okay, so if we just do hold on, we just practice to do hold off also. Okay, just see now what it does. So it gets value of x, y, y2, just it plots the value of x comma y. So next command it reads, okay, it just holds on this value. So it gonna hold on these value, just holding on this value, it just does the next thing also. It just plots the same results here. So it's plot x comma y to the other graph also in this. You're getting that? So if to get more clarity, I'm just seeing, I'm just doing, see, I just say plot and then I say hold off. So everything will get rid of, right? So I'm just using another graph called scatter. I just say x comma y2 or else y comma y2. Okay. So what I'm doing here, see, I just close this graph. Okay. So I just close this graph. See what happened. So you just hold it on up to this and it just displays this and hold off. Hold off means it just as usual it just turned off. So only this at last only this is happening. So if I just make it here, just control X and then just paste it here, what will be my answer? You just check. The three graphs are being placed in my thing because it got holded on and then it's also getting added, this also getting added, and until unless I say hold off, it just keep on adding, right? So if we want to compare, last class what we see, we just use a function called, what function we use to make many graphs in a single layout, what function we have used? Yes, we use subplot. We use subplot to say to create multiple plots in a single workspace, right? But we use a hold on to make graphs in a single workspace. So in a single graph sheets, I'm getting all the graphs. So what I'm doing is I'm doing hold on. Okay. So if you just check, I just didn't mention hold off. So what I'm getting? I'm not getting any difference. So what is the necessity of using hold off? You can ask that question, right? So the necessity of using hold off is nothing but if your code is this much, it won't affect anything. Suppose if my thing is like, it just want to do this and then it wants to do this means it want to carry out after performing this means it will make a thing. So as a programmer point of view, you just practice. If you just turn on a condition, make sure you turn off that. It is a good practice. Okay. Is everyone understood about this? Everyone got a clear picture on this? Yes. So if we don't, if we want to plot something like we want to plot a different graph, we don't want the previous graph, means we don't want this hold on. We just use hold off, right? Okay. So what else next is like we'll just have we just got a clear clarity like how to plot a graph, how to compare a graphs in a single environment, right? We just place many things and we have this, right? And then we also saw now how to plot multiple graphs in a single graph, single workspace of graph, right? So moving on to the next thing, next phase of the course, which is the data import. Yesterday many were asking sir, they were pinging me like sir, data import, if I want to import certain data, how to do that? So what is the easiest way out of those? Okay, so I just gave you a couple of a couple of sheets in your WhatsApp group, so I guess you might have downloaded it. So I do have downloaded it. I have here the one, as you can just see the type, so which is uh, Excel. I'll just go to the property. This is a dot CSV, which is a comma separated value file, and this is all about an Excel sheet, Excel worksheet, right? So what is the difference between these? This is a normal Excel worksheet and this is somewhat a comma separated worksheet. I'll be telling you what is the difference between the both. Well, we just go across that. Okay. So first, I don't want to mess up with, I don't want to mess up much with Excel sheet, sorry, CSV. I just go on with the Excel sheet. Let me open on that. So when I open on that, I have a multiple set of things, right? You can just see that. So I have a common label. So what are all these values? I say sepal length and sepal width and petal length and petal width. Okay, I have a collection of data under this. So sepal lengths, I have many sepal lengths, sepal width, petal length, petal widths I have. So I want to create, I want to import these data inside the MATLAB. So is this necessary? Like I want to check every time, just I'll just delete this off. I want to check every time here coming to this, and then I want to see this, and I want to write, or else I want to keep it like this, and I should write it as 5.1. No, there is no, there are like we have an easy way out of here, so we can just directly import it. Right? So for that, what I'm going to use is I have, see if you just go to the home tab, you have the option of import data. Okay, so you have an option of import data and just clicking import data. So it's asking me what do you want to import? Okay, so I just select this, which folder I want. I just go to my desktop and then I have my MATLAB and then I have my Excel workbook here. When I do that, it just takes a couple of minutes. Yeah, it will just hold on. It just loading it. Yeah, it's when I just choose that, it's asking me. You just can see whatever there, it got imported here, right? So the sepal length got imported, the sepal width got imported, the petal length, petal width, it got imported, right? So the next thing, I just minimize this. Okay, so we'll just go on with the basic layout. So what does the range means? Range means, you know, so what is the entire range of that, right? I don't want to say from what the data starts from A to cell to D151. So I have 150 content, right? So here comes the next thing, variable name rows. You want to make sure yourself clear that this first row, which is the title, sepal length of this column, sepal width of this column, these and all not a data, right? These and all doesn't comes under data. These and all just a label for this corresponding column, right? So I want to mention which is the label, so that I just mention one. If I mention two, you just see it just skips. Okay, just mention one. So the first row is not considered to have any data. Okay, so I don't want to import all data. I just say here, I just want A and C. Suppose consider to be I want A and C, sepal length and petal length. So I just click both this. I have import selection. I just give import data. So the data of the variables got imported. So when I go back to that, you just can see it just takes some time. So here you can see. So the data, whatever all I got, the sepal length, petal length got, what to say, it got imported back to my cell. From my Excel, I just imported the values, right? I just close as of now. Okay, so I just import this thing. So okay, that's fine. If I want to, again you can ask, okay sir, I can, if I have an Excel sheet, I can just take that off. So the next thing comes, which is as we just saw, which is a CSV file, comma separated file. Okay, so what is this you are asking? So you are asking NaNaH, what is that? So I just demonstrated, right? I just was using right here. So I just was saying right here, this variable will be this, the first thing you take a remove it. So because these are labels, don't mention it that. We are saying that, right? So it just take that first row. See, if you just keep here, it was replaced by an age. It won't consider as a value. Since we say the first variable as a row or column variable, don't take it as an input. So it just take as NaL. It is just a default method of taking, instructing that MATLAB to be saying like, it's not a value, it's just a label or something like that. Okay. So CSV file, if you just keenly observe that it is comma separated file. Okay, so it just open, it will be, it looks similar to the Excel file. So if I just open this up, it is also a little similar, right? So what is the difference here is, I don't have a label, I have only the raw data. Okay, so I have only raw data. Each data are separated by a cell, usually a cell here. Okay, so it is comma separated file, but here it is used in Excel, so it is separated in each cell. So what I'm doing here, see, instead of as usually I'm doing here, as like I just was directly using import, right? Now I'm just going to use a command called CSV read. I'm going to read a CSV file. Okay, I'm going to read a CSV file. For that, I want to mention where the CLC file is. So to say the where is the CLC file, I'll just say, if you click here, it will just give you the path where you have saved. You just copy that. So I'm going to ask you a simple question here. I'm going to ask a simple question here. You just take a look. I'm going to do this. I'm getting an error called this. Why I'm getting an error called this? Can anyone identify this, why I'm getting this error? The same thing I'm going to do. If it is in the case, I'm going to do the same. Okay, I'll just do the same if you want now. See, I'm just copying the same. I'm just going back to the C program file, polyspace here, and then here I have bin, right? So I have saved here. Continue. Okay, the same thing I was just doing, right? So here I'm going C program files and then polyspace bin. I'm just taking this. So what is the difference? Before it was something like I got an error. Yes, great. Who was that? Yes, Vamshi, it was great. So here we were supposed to use .cvs. Okay, great. So see, I just got as usual. I don't want to import anything. I don't want to do anything. Here you can see before it was like when I just imported an Excel sheet, it was asking in the first or in which row your label was present. But here it was asking what is the column delimiter. So you can see here, it's directly imported, right? I didn't ask anything. Just it's asking what is meant by column delimiter. What is a column delimiter here? I'm just since I have used an Excel sheet, I don't want to mention anything appropriate to that. I just can mention anything, a tab or space or something like that. But see, I am going to use a Excel. Okay, so let me just create an Excel for you. Okay. I'll just create a, sorry, not an Excel. I'll just create a text file here. Text file, okay. I'll just create this. Here I'm just going to use, going to do some data, apply some data. So 45, 50, 55, 60, and then 65. Okay. So in the next line, I'm just going to say 90, 95, 100, 105, and then 110. Okay, so I have mentioned this. I'm saving this too. I'm just saving this as a sake. I'm just copying this here, Control C, and I'm going back to my bin. I'm just saying here to continue. So I just saved. It's a new document, right? So the exact situation lies here, right? You can just see now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to import the data, which is a new document. So what I have used here, before entering to that, I'll just say here, what I have used here, I use a space character, right? A space character to denote or to my understanding, I use the space so that I just say this is a separate number, this is a separate number. Okay, so the same thing it's asked here. You can just see, I just imported that. So it's asked me which you are going to do or what you are going to do that. Okay, so the same thing that applies here. Whatever I just import or what I take it out of here, it will take a space here. So the space which is called, we'll just say CSV, comma separated value, right? Here we can use that space to say this is what a different kind of things. If I have an X value, I can just do that. If it has an Y value, I can just do that. Okay, so you can see that. So here it says, so what is my column delimiter? So what I use to separate two values, I use a comma. No, I didn't use a comma. I use a tab. No, I use a space. No, yeah, I use a space, right? So it was my space. I just say, just import my data. Okay, so you can just go back and you have a new variable called this. So if you check your data, it is used. The same way, what I'm doing is you just check now. Sorry, this hold on. The same thing, what I'm doing is share. Okay, okay, the same thing what I'm doing here. See, I'm just remodifying this. I'm just remodifying this. Okay, I'll just close this. I'm just gonna remodify this. What I'm doing here, you just see, you just say b. Between every values, I'm using b. Okay, b over here, b. Okay, so I'm gonna save this, save file. Same thing, yes, save. Yes, you don't have a permission to save. Okay, save as the desktop. You just save for me as of now. I'll just copy that back to there. Yeah. Control C here, and then I'm going back to my bin. .v just ask me, yes, replace the file. Okay, it just replaced it. So I'm not going back to my thing. I'll just try to import that. It's in my C folder. Sorry, it's in my program file. And then I go back to my police piece. Okay, here I have a bin. All right, so I'm just taking here from here. I'll just say import file, import data. So it's asked me here, what is your delimiter? Before I have used a space, it just by default it took, but see, it just analyzed and said, okay, you might have used a comma. So I don't find a comma. So in this tab, I just don't find a command. Okay, I'll take this as one thing and use as another thing. So I'm going to say, hey MATLAB, I just didn't use a comma or a tab. I just use a custom thing, which is a B. So it just splits everything. Okay, I understood now. It says, okay, I understood now. I just divide everything into B format. So 45, and then you use the B. Okay, you're going to next number. Okay, 50, next number. And then you use a B. Okay, next number. Then 55. Then B. Okay, next number. So it identify, right? So you might have now got a clear picture what is the delimiter means, right? So we can use anything. See, you can ask me a question here, sir. Which is preferable? Using a space is preferable, or using some other characters like B or a dollar sign? Anything is preferable. According to me, I'll just say using some character is preferable, because if you are something like, if you are using something like 45 space 50 space 55 space 60 and then space 65, and then if you use a space, it counts as a software, it counts. you have used a space, so you have a void or a empty value you're going to enter, right? So yeah, by visually we can't see here a space is there or not, right? So it is better to use some characters between the elements as a delimiters to show up things. Okay. uh, this is quite interesting, right? So if I have something in an Excel, I just can bring it. If I have something in another file format, I just can bring into my Excel, right? So we have, if we have a set of data, it's fine. Okay, I'm trying to import it, but the thing is, like, for every way there will be an opposite way, right? So if I'm going to my some other place, I should return back, right? So I should be known other way, right? So we just go back to the Excel. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just open my Excel, which is 2016 edition. I just get most of the people will be using that. Okay, I just close this as of now. Okay, so listen carefully. I'm just going to teach how to add a plugin in your data, okay, in your Excel sheet. So by default, you won't be having a MATLAB plugin here. So before entering into this topic, I'll just tell you how to bring this. Okay, you just navigate to your file. You just have an option tab. Okay, you click this option tab. Okay, in this option tab, you have many tabs here. You just move on to add-ins. In add-ins, you have manage add-ins. You just simply click go. So by default, you will be having analysis toolpath, VBA, and these four. You won't be having the spreader link of something like MATLAB or an Excel. You won't be having. Don't worry about it. You just click browse for that. Okay. Once you have clicked browse, it will just ask you where that thing is there, where your linking file is there. If you have MATLAB in your computer, just navigate to the corresponding folder. In my computer, it is in C folder, program file, polyspace. I use 2020 edition A. So here, okay. So here I just have my toolbox. You just enter into the toolbox. Here, you just click E. Okay, here you just have a folder called Xlink. Just click that. Once you click, it just have an Excel file. You just double click. Since I have done it before, it's just asking you want to replace. Replacing it doesn't make any sense, right? So I just say yes. So once I have done that, you'll be having it. You have option here. You just tick that option and you okay. So that your MATLAB thing is done. You'll in within a minute or a couple of minutes, that will be available in your workspace tab. Okay, so what next? So I'll just introduce a small thing now. As of now, we just get to know what is this all about. In tomorrow's class, I'll be telling you briefly about that. Okay, so in MATLAB, if you have button, you just click that and just say preferences. What is this preference all about? Okay, so it just asks me, okay, whenever you start an Excel, MATLAB should start up. Yes, if you want, yes, click. No. If you want to write a program ID or wherever you want to start your MATLAB folder, suppose like D folder, whenever you just do an Excel, you just store the data of MATLAB in certain folder. Same thing, use MATLAB desktop, errors, everything, right? So as of now, I just give cancel. Okay, so I just come to the MATLAB function wizard. So function uh, will be seeing the basics of function today. Some 2-3 functions will be seeing today, and tomorrow will be seeing the rest. So as of now, I'll just introducing what is meant by MATLAB function wizard. Okay, so if you create a function, it is easy. Like you can just directly, instead of moving to the MATLAB folder or MATLAB software, you can do it from here. See, I have many function, predefined function, which was inbuilt. I have, right? So if I just or update, so you just want to wait for 2 to 3 minutes so that it will fetch from the corresponding data. we'll wait for 2 to 3 minutes for that. So it is like inbuilt. By default, we have libraries, right? So we'll be having certain things. So I have many things. This is this kind of things you'll when you get your software, right? So see, I have many functions. Under this, I have many function. If I just click some function, it will take some time. It will give something like that. What is the function all about? Yes. So if yes, why we use why we use Excel file and a CSV file to import data is, if you want to import strings value also, you can use as a, you can create an Excel. Sorry, you can create a text document. You can just write if you something like you want to do some names, Monal, and then you can use as dollar symbol, and then Harish dollar symbol this. And if you say my delimiter is dollar, means it will take us different things. It can store string values. Okay. So here I'm just using MATLAB wizard function, right? So if I want that function, if I give OK, and then if I just click what and all data has to be done, it's something different. I'll just tell you what is this all about. Since I'm just talking about GUI, I just came across to this. Okay. So we are going to get a way to import data. Okay. So what I'm doing there, see. I'm just writing some data here. As of now, I'm just writing some data. 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 50. Okay, in the same way, in the next line, I'm just writing, just make it 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and then here, 100, 200, 300, 400, and then 500. Okay, so I have my data. So I'm going to import these as a variable inside my MATLAB software. So I just select these everything. I just go back to this. Okay, and just have send data to MATLAB. It just asks me, okay, I'll send this data. So under which or under what variable name I want to store it. So I just say K. Just see, I just okay. So I am going back to my MATLAB software. Oof. Yeah, I have my variable key. I don't want to manually enter here. So whatever I gave here is just imported here. The reverse manner. So the reverse manner I'm just doing. I want to import the values of data which I have in my what to say in my MATLAB. I want to get it. So I'm just saying get data from MATLAB. Okay. So it imports the data from MATLAB. So I can get, I just connected MATLAB with my Excel so that it can just transfer data. It can assign them data to that and can modify the data according to that, right? Okay. Your question is, sir, I don't know how, it's a basic question. So you are asking if we are not giving a square matrix, what it will happen, right? So you just see, obviously error will pop out. See, if you say G null matrix. Okay. Okay. So we just transferred data, right? So we'll just start up with the functions. Okay. We'll start with a basic function called if. Everyone might be aware, right? I'll just clear this. if function. This is a very basic. We're going to enter into the very basic thing. Okay, very basic thing. The first is if condition, right? So I'm starting with if. Okay. Basically, what if condition does? So I will be giving a statement. If the statement is true, then it will does that, right? If the statement is false, it won't do that, right? So I'm just going further. I'm going to get write some variable, some values for this a, or else I can just simply say random. Get me 4 random values. Sorry. Okay, and then b, same like I get a random 4 values. So 4 values means my a value have a set whose size will be 4, right? I'm just saying if is equal, sorry, is it equal, what is the equal? Size of a and size of b. So what I have said here, if the condition, what is the condition, is equal, what should be equal? If both are equal, then what I should do? If both are equal, just do just combine. We'll say combine a and b, concatenate a and b. Okay. So I just started with an if, so I just want to end e and b. Okay, I started with an if and then end. Okay, so I'll just run this program. I'll just make it big. Okay, I'll just run this. Okay, so since a and b both sides are equal, what it does, it just took a and b and concatenate things. Before that, I'll just say this a, so that I can just briefly elaborate you. Okay, see, since the size was same, it just concatenate things. So this was a, since the size was this was a, and then this was b. It concatenate and just get an option called c. Suppose if both sides are not equal, both sides are not, now it is not equal, no? So I'll just clear this off, CLC. I'll just run this. I don't want to display my things. Okay, I'll just going to run this. Since both are not equal, when I just run, I'm not getting any output, because if these are equal only, I should get an output. If both are not equal, I didn't mention anything, so the function also, so the MATLAB is also not giving me anything, right? So I'll just going to use another term called else. So if both are not something like equal, then if else, what you should do? You should display, will display some strings called the, sorry, the two variables sizes are not equal. Okay, just say it. If this is the condition, then it's print. If it is not the condition, then else what it should do. Okay, so I'm just doing that. So now you see both sides are not equal, so it skips it, else this, it displays the value, the two variable size are not equal. Okay, so this is very basic. Okay, I'll just go on with a simple much simple example here. Okay, so that everyone will be understanding this, we'll just go off with a simple example. Okay, everyone will be aware of some mark schemes, right? If you score 90 plus, you'll be getting a 80 to 90 b. We'll just make that. Okay, so what I'm going to get, So I'm going to get input from the user. You tell me the marks. So I'll create a variable called mark, and I'm going to get from the user input. Please, sorry, please enter your marks. Mark. Okay, fine. Mark. Please enter your mark. So once the code is run, so it just gets the input and store it as mark. So my condition, if the marks which I got is greater than or equal to 90, then what it's supposed to do? I just say grade. I introduce a variable called grade. So display a string. Okay. So my mark, if it is greater than 90, greater than or equal to 90, it will just say A. So here I have many probabilities, right? So before situation, if that condition is true, you do that. I have two ways only. Condition is true or false. So I use if or else, right? So I have many possibilities. If I score 80 to 90 one grade, 70 to 80 one grade, 60 to 70 one grade, right? So I have many options, many probabilities, right? So I'm using another condition else if it is not this, then you check this else if the marks is something greater than or equal to 80, I'm using and which means and gate, both conditions should be 90. Okay, so I say grade is equal to string of, you say b grade you got. Okay. As a time point of sake, I'll just copy this. Else if 70 to 60, will say 70 to 80. If he got, we'll say he got C grade. Same way. 70 to, sorry, 60 to 70. If we get 60 to 70, he got D grade. And we'll say if he gets less than 60, he fails. Okay, so that is my last. If these are not there, then he might be less than 60. I don't want to mention the condition. If these are not there, else then you just say grade is equal to string, sorry, string, yes. Okay, I'll just in this, we just check now. I don't need this. I'll check now. See. So it's asking me enter your mark. My mark is something around 78. So 78 lies between 70 and then 80, right? My answer should be C. So your grade is C. So what it does here, it just gets the input from me. Okay, 78. So it sees if my mark is greater than 90, no, then it skips. Else it is 80 to 90, no, skips. If check 70 to 80, yes, it is 70 to 80. Then it prints the value C. It will end. See, I'm just running the program again. It's just asking me a mark. I just say 45, which doesn't comes in these. So it will check everything here. Okay, it doesn't match anything. So what it does, if it didn't match anything, so else I should print yes. It satisfies this condition? No. It satisfies this condition? No. This condition? No. This condition? No. Then else whatever may be, if it doesn't satisfy this condition, then it should be yes. It just goes like that. Okay. This is an if else and if else condition. So if else condition is clear about everyone, like everyone is clear about if else condition. Yes. So I'll just move on to the nested loop function. Okay, so nested loop is something, but nest is something like you're going to add something. Okay, so what I have did here, I just got a mark. I just say whether what it comes here or comes there, like that, right? So the same thing, I'm just going to use some more extra things. Okay, we'll just see, before that, we'll just see for function, for loop. We'll just say if loop we just saw, right? Same like we'll see for loop. If loop means what we, if function means what we did. If this is my case, do this. If this is my case, do that. If it is this, do that. Else do that. Like that condition means we are using if variable, right? So same condition, if you are using, if you want for this much time do this, for this much time do this, for 10 times you do that, for 6 times you do this, for that we are going to use for loop. Okay, so I'm just going to use a for loop here, a simple example for loop. Okay, I'll just say uh, I'll just start with a basic example for I'm just creating a variable called I. So I just say I values is something like 1 to 10. Okay. Just I'll say only display I. So for every time until I'm getting 10, it will get displayed, right? So I started here, I just end here. Okay. I'm just going to run. You can see. One, first loop it was one, next it one go 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. It was like again it's doing until the condition is satisfied, until the condition I is equal to 10, it just moves on, right? The same thing, I'm just using step condition. Okay, see here, step condition 1, it prints step 3, 5, 7, 9, right? The same things I'm writing backward, 10 to 1, print 10 to 1. 10 to 1, how come? If we minus only, we'll get a 1, right? So I'll say minus 1 in a step of reverse, right? So I'll say run, reverse I got minus 10, minus 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So this is the for loop. Okay, I'll just do some basic example for loop, and what is, I'll just give a basic introduction for what is meant by nested loop, and I'll close the session. Post that, I'll just give you a practice in your WhatsApp group. I'll just send you some files to for practice in your WhatsApp group. Okay, so I'll just start with the basic example for a for loop. Okay, I'll just write a for loop. Just open a new folder. I'll just write first of all fprintf. What fprintf does? So it's going to print some command, right? So I'll just say uh, please. It's going to enter. Please enter 5 students grades. Going to enter 5 students there in the form of percentage. Okay, I'll just go back to the next slide. Okay, so while I start running, it just prints a command, prints enter like that. So I'm going to write for loop. I'm going to get the 5 students grade. So I'm going to say I is equal to my I is how much time I want to run, 5 times I want to run. Okay, so again I'm going to print something. I'm going to get the mark, right? So I'm going to print please enter the value for the student number. So student number means first student. Second, when it goes for second loop, it was asked to second student, right? So it just want to print the I value, corresponding I value in the loop, right? So percentage D slash N. So what is that percentage D here? Is I, right? Okay. So I just say, whatever I get an input, I am going to update in the thing, right? So is equal to input of, I just say a void thing. So whatever I give an input, it stores according to that. Okay. So for anything, it's just end. So at last, what it should print? Suppose like what is the mean of the total class? Okay. I'll just say the average grade is, okay. The average grade is also here a number, right? So we'll be using percentage D. So what does this percentage D is? So we'll use a function called mean of grades. Okay. So you just see here. I'll just delete off this. Save this and save. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Please enter. Sorry, it's F print. F print. Yeah, I'll just delete this and I write again. CLC. Okay. As of now, function is running. Delete this off. Okay, I'll just run this program now. See, so when I just run, it just say, please, first it prints, please enter 5 students grade. And then it just go to the loop. First time it's coming. So please enter the value of student number 1. So student number 1 got suppose 60 marks. I just give enter. What is this? Okay, it just stores. Next it goes. Second, okay. Second, what is the value of second? 70. Okay, end. Next, I is equal to 3. This flies here. Okay, then third student, 80. Then it comes fourth, okay, 90. Then 500. Okay, 5 is done, right? So what you have mentioned is 1 to 5. So 5 is done. Automatically, this should be stopped, right? So you see now. So just give me f printf. It's f printf. The value is sorry, cf printf. So I'll just write it again. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, I entered 5 values. Oof, it's making me f. It's f print f. I just make spelling mistakes. Okay. Say 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So I just ending up with 5 numbers or 5 people's marks. So just it's updates 5 people marks. So it just displays the mean. So 90 plus 80 plus 70 plus 60 plus 50 divided by 5. So it is 70. The average grade is 70. This is for loop. See, it's getting 5 variable input. I can say, you can say, now we can say something like what is my uh, enter your half early marks slash n, right? Enter your slash n mark sub in subject one, right? So you just see here now. I'll just mention CLC. Okay. Just mention slash n2 here. Okay. See if I run this program now, check. So what? Please enter the value of subject one. In subject one, I got 60. Subject two 70. Subject three 84. 65. 89. So whatever I mark is this. My grade is this. Average grade is this. Okay. So I'll just wind off with the last topic of the day. So which is a nested. Nested is nothing but adding to or something. You just going to add something here, right? So basically what we did here, we just got a for loop, right? So nested is nothing but you're going to add another for loop inside that. A for loop inside for loop. You just see here now. I'm just writing a basic thing. I just say 1 to 5. Okay, so if my command is like this, so for I 1 to 5 display I. So if I run this 1 2 3 4 5, it will come, right? So I'm just saying for 1 to 5 display I. Okay, display I, there is not a problem. In that again I'm writing a for loop for j equal to 1 is to 5 and then j. I just have an end for this loop, but I don't have an end for this. So I write an end. For every for, there should be an end. So you just run it, you will be surprised. See what happens. What happens? See, first this loop runs. This loop runs, so I is equal to 1 to 5. Okay, first I is equal to 1. Then this loop start running. 1 2 3 4 5. So what we'll be getting for 1, we'll be getting 5 values, and then for 1 is equal to 2, then we'll get 5 values, then 3 we'll get 5 values. You check now here. You can check now here. See, first you start with I is equal to 1. For I is equal to 1, we get j 1 2 3 4 5, and then that loop over. Then I is equal to 2, j 1 2 3 4 5, and then that loop over. I is equal to 3 1 2 3 4 5. We have a nested thing. We have another point of group inside that, right? So I'll just do off with this nested with this. This is same example. Okay, with the same example I'll do. Okay, here what I got is I got 5 different marks, 5 different students mark. So what I'm just going to edit here is please enter 5 students grade in current semester. Okay, so please enter the value of the student, first one, and then here after doing this, I'm just going to write another thing. For every student, I'm going to get 5 subjects. I'll be having 5 subjects, right? 1 to 5. Okay. I'll just use again another thing. Control C, Control V. Please enter the grade percentage. Please enter the grade percentage, grade in percentage D for student percentage D. Okay, so the first percentage is for which one? The first percentage is for J and the second is for I, right? J comma I. So it's going to get the value. So at last what I'm going to do, I just want to do an end here for this loop. For this for here only this for this for I'm going to write an end here. Okay, so I just say f print of the average grade is. Okay, average grade is, let me print like this. Average grade is like this. I say mean of grades. Okay. So what I'm doing, see now, I'll just delete this off. CLC. See if I run here, what happens? So please enter 5 students' grades in current semester. Please enter the value of the student 1. Please enter the grade 1 grade in first subject. So first subject his score is 30. Grade in second subject 40. Grade in the third subject 50. Fourth subject he got 45. Fifth subject he got 69. Okay, student 1 over. Now please enter the value of student 2. Enter the value of student first subject of student 2. I want to write the same things. Then student 3. So after entering that, it will just calculate each grade and gets me the mean grade. Right? A loop inside a loop. This is called a nested thing. Okay. So this is the end of the day 4. Okay, this is the end of the day 4. So I'll be giving you a practice sheet. Okay, I'll be giving you a practice sheet so that you can work it down. And coming back to the next level, level 2 in MATLAB, we are just going to get a limited registration. So people who are interested, you can just ping us, the group admins. You can just ping the group admin so that you can get the registration form. It is a limited registration, and just make it clear here. So who are not interested to do that, they can just take that from the group admin, the registration link. Okay. So thank you everyone. So we'll meet in the last class, that is on tomorrow. Okay. Have a great night. Bye bye. So if you have any doubt, you can just glad ask me so that I can just answer. Okay, thank you everyone. I hope no one have any doubt. We'll just meet in the next class. Thank you. Thank you everyone.